When most people picture Greenland, they see these huge, vast ice sheets. But its system of government is just as vast and, frankly, just as complex. So who's actually in charge? It's one of the most misunderstood topics in geopolitics today, and in this explainer, we're going to break down the legal facts and the current rules that run this massive autonomous territory. So let's get right to the heart of it. Is Greenland an independent country, or is it just another part of Denmark? Well, the short answer is, it's complicated. But that complexity, that's where things get really fascinating. It reveals a unique system of governance that we're going to break down piece by piece. To really understand how Greenland's government works today, we have to look at one single, pivotal document. This one piece of legislation is basically the bedrock of the modern relationship between Nuuk and Copenhagen, and it spells out exactly who has power over what. And here it is, the 2009 Act on Greenland's Self-Government. Now, the specific wording here is absolutely critical. It calls Greenland a self-governing nation that exists within the Kingdom of Denmark. And look, that's not just a fancy turn of phrase. It's the legal foundation for Greenland to have its own democratic government, its own national identity, all while still being constitutionally part of the Danish realm. Okay, so if Greenland is self-governing, what does that actually look like in practice? Let's dive into the specific institutions and the responsibilities that are handled directly by Greenland's own government. First up, you've got the legislative branch, the Inatsisartut. This is Greenland's own elected parliament. Think of it like a national congress or a house of commons. Its members are the ones writing and passing laws that apply specifically to Greenland, and they're also in charge of the national budget. And the group that puts those laws into action? That's the Naalakkersuisut. This is the executive branch of the government, and it's led by Greenland's very own prime minister. They manage all the different ministries and handle the day-to-day running of the country. So what do these bodies actually control? Well, essentially, it's most of the domestic policy that affects daily life. We're talking about the healthcare system, education, social services, and, crucially, they also manage fisheries and natural resources, which are the absolute economic lifeblood of the island. On top of that, they handle local infrastructure, environmental protection, and promoting Greenlandic culture and language. All right, so with Greenland's government handling all that, you might be asking, what's left for Denmark to do? Let's take a look at the specific powers that are reserved for the central government back in Copenhagen. The powers that Denmark holds onto are what you'd typically call sovereign powers, the things that really define a nation-state on the world stage. This includes national defense, foreign policy and diplomacy, citizenship, and also monetary policy, which is why Greenland uses the Danish krone. This really breaks down that division of labor so clearly. You can see Greenland manages its own internal affairs, while Denmark handles the realm's relationship with the rest of the world. It's a pragmatic setup that allows for a really significant amount of Greenlandic autonomy. But, and this is a really important point, these two systems don't just operate in isolation. They are absolutely connected through political structures that are designed to make sure there's representation and communication. So how does that work? For starters, Greenland gets a direct say in Danish politics. It elects 2 members to sit in Denmark's national parliament, which is called the Folketing. This makes sure that on those big issues controlled by Copenhagen, like foreign policy and defense, the Greenlandic perspective is formally represented. And it's not a one-way street. The connection flows in the other direction too. The Danish government has an official representative in Greenland called the High Commissioner. This person acts as a liaison, a bridge between the two governments, making sure there's coordination by participating in discussions on shared issues. Okay, let's zoom out for a second to the global context. Why does this unique arrangement matter to the rest of the world? Well, the answer lies in one of those key powers reserved by Denmark, defense. And this has huge geopolitical implications, especially in the Arctic. Right, because defense is a Danish responsibility, and Denmark is a founding member of NATO. Greenland is automatically covered by the alliance's collective defense pact. Legally speaking, this means an attack on Greenland is considered an attack on all 32 NATO members. And this security arrangement isn't just a theory on paper. It has very real, tangible consequences. It's the legal basis for the Pitufik space base in northern Greenland, which is an incredibly critical U.S. military installation for missile warning and space surveillance. This makes Greenland a strategically vital piece of the puzzle for Western defense. So let's circle all the way back to our original question, who runs Greenland? The truth is, it's not a single entity. It's not just Nuuk, and it's not just Copenhagen. The best, most accurate way to describe it is as a carefully balanced system of partnership. So to sum it all up, Greenland's government manages pretty much all the domestic issues that affect its citizens. Denmark holds on to control over those big, sovereign issues like defense and foreign policy. And what you get is a really unique political status, a nation with deep, deep autonomy that operates within the constitutional framework of the Danish kingdom. It's a nuanced model of governance that just doesn't fit into a simple box.